I think it's so important to communicate with the family members, whether they're near or far, to go through and let them know what your decision is, whether to stay and shelter in place or to go through and vacate and go to another location.
What do you need improvement in?
Just want to go through and win.
What is the purpose of overthinking? You're taking care of your loved one. That's how you can increase your sales.
Hello, everybody. This is Ferris.
This is Caleb Lenoir, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with the Homecare Guyz.
Caleb, man, today we have a dynamic topic that we're going to be talking about that's going to specifically deal with a lot of our seniors. As you know, we recently, the Hurricane Ian just hit Florida a few weeks ago, and a lot of people were impacted. So we're going to be talking about tips on how to go through and prepare for the next disaster. But Caleb, before we get started on that, man, how was your week, brother?
Man, the week was amazing. You know, we had our great grand opening here, our re-grand opening at Prime Care Home Care Services, and that was one of the best experiences, Ferris, and a monumentous moment for us. We have completely finished our first phase in our office facility here in Millersville. And so now we're getting the team back in the office, and they're loving every aspect. No, we have shout outs to our designer, Karen Larkin, for designing an amazing space that really produced growth and elevation for our team, and all of our contractors. Man, we just had a great time. Even our event planner, Naran, did a great job with decorating the event space. But how was the grand opening experience for you, Ferris?
Man, it was quite an experience. It was overwhelming because, just like I said, this started, oh my gosh, almost a year ago.
Right.
A lot of cosmetic upgrades, a lot of things that had to happen, because when we first got this building, of course, it was an elementary school, and we knew that it had potential, but we realized that we wanted to go think of a world-class facility for our team members. So Caleb, I was just simply amazed, blown away with how it came about. Learned a lot throughout the process too. That'd be another podcast.
We did.
Learned a lot about ourselves
on renovations, right?
Exactly. But man, overall, I was simply amazed. I'm so proud of our team for being flexible, because they were able to work remote some. They were able to work at our alternate locations, but they were able to go through and still continue to get the job done. So big shout out to our Prime Care family. But this is something that's monumental. This is going to go down in history, brother.
Of course. And Ferris, I want to tell our audience this, like little did they know, like Ferris said, when we were younger, we literally stayed a few blocks from the school. And so I can remember when I was like at least 8, 9, or 10, walking to Midway Elementary School to eat free lunch. And so every summer, my mother didn't have the resources to, really kind of support us. I would support, the feeding and paying all the bills being a single parent. And so we used to come up here to take advantage of the free lunch program. And so we used to come up here every day in the summer to get our food. And it was so we used to walk probably at least 2 miles.
Probably about a mile.
Yeah. Walked a mile and to get the food, and it was just a good experience. And little did I know, I was telling my team, my name is Caleb, and in the Bible, Caleb means, the person that came and gave a good report. And Caleb was a spy. He spied out the land. And I said, little did I know that God was using my name and me as a person to actually spy out the land for even this facility of what this facility is going to be in the future for us. And so me being a child, like I was a 7, 8, 9-year-old child, I'm coming in looking at this and did not know that this would be our office facility. This would be our event space. This would be our studio. And God used, it's a full circle moment. God used that childhood experience of me walking here and realizing and saying, hey, this is not just for you to eat free lunch, but this is for you to own and for you to build a business and to take your company a national brand. And
brother,
so I just had a moment, and that was a great moment.
Man, that's incredible. That's an incredible reflection, man. And as we reflect, just like I said, over the last few weeks, brother, it's been a lot of things going on in the news. A lot of people have been impacted by Hurricane Ian.
Yes.
Man, it was devastating. And
I think over 40,600 people got displaced. I think I read last. I think it was like 106 deaths.
Wow.
In Ian, and it really kind of disrupt Southeast Florida and in South Carolina.
Oh my gosh, man. And that's one thing is a lot of times when it comes to disasters, what happens is a lot of times the people that are hurt or harmed the most, or people that are affected the most, are individuals that are either seniors or they're disabled. They may not have the funds. They may not have a lot of the funds to go through and actually move across country or go to a neighboring state to go through and seek shelter. So they have to sit there and weather the storm. And Caleb, one thing we want to go through and talk to those people and those family members to go through and kind of give them a few tidbits on how to prepare for the next storm, because just like you said, moving or shifting to another state may not be an option for some people, but we just want to give a few tidbits that can go through and help them out as we prepare for any other storms, because we are in hurricane season as well.
Exactly. If as you may know, hurricane season starts in June and ends around November, especially for the Atlantic coast. And so I want you all to be prepared. We're going to go over some tips today on what to prepare yourselves, and so on how to prepare yourselves. And so I think I remember growing up, my mom used to always have like a little box, like a box of dried foods or canned foods. And so I think one of the first things that I would say, which is beneficial, because you never know if the power is going to go off or the electricity is going to go off, you want to make sure you have food and water. And so I would keep maybe a box of food, a box of non-perishable foods, something that can have a long life shelf, as well as bottles of water available. And so we call that an emergency kit. So emergency kit. So I would have maybe some crackers, some sardines, some Vienna sausages, something like that, some meats, even some foods that you can just kind of like scoop and eat, crackers and things of that sort, stuff with long life shelf. And then you want to make sure you have water. And I would at least have enough for 3 to 5 days, just in case there's a significant emergency where you are trapped, but you still need food and water in order to survive. I
think it's so important. Again, you have to go through and think about those bare necessities that we are required to have. Another thing I would recommend, Caleb, is having some form of communication, especially prior to and even during a natural disaster. I think it's so important to communicate with the family members, whether they're near or far, to go through and let them know what your decision is, whether to stay and shelter in place or to go through and vacate and go to another location. But communication is going to be key. Making sure you have your cell phone charged up fully. Make sure you have an alternate just in case your cell phone dies. Have those alternative cell phone batteries, or either having a two-way radio or some type of radio system or CB system that allows you to communicate for help, because we never know when or what type of situation we may be entrapped in. So it's so important to be able to have that communication. Like with Hurricane Ian, I know that a few people were actually stuck on different small little islands in Florida, off of Florida coast, but they were out there going through. Some of them were trapped in their house. Some of them, unfortunately, died in their house. But others, they got out and were able to go through and do an SOS in the sand. They were able to go through and wave the red flag or the orange flag to go through and let rescuers know where they were. So again, making sure that communication is key. Again, going through and communicating with your family, letting them know what's going to happen, if you're going to shelter in place or you're going to go through and actually go to an alternate location. But then also communicating with them after the storm has passed to let them know if you're in safety or if you got to another location, so that they will be have some comfort in mind knowing that you were taken care of. So communication is key.
Hey, are you taking care of a disabled loved one in your home? My name is Donna Kraft. I'm a health coach with Prime Care Home Care. The last couple of years, our company has been helping family members make lasting memories with their disabled loved ones by paying that family member to take care of them in their home. If this is something you'd be interested in learning more about, please give me a call at 912-319-4166, and I'll be waiting for your call.
I would go with the next one would probably be more so evacuation plans. I think that's always great. We know that in nursing facilities, hospitals, nursing homes, they have an evacuation route. And so especially if you're a senior, if you are a disabled individual, if you are in a wheelchair, you want to make sure that you are the quickest route out of the home. In the event of a flood, you want to make sure you have an alternative method of transportation, because a motorized vehicle is probably not going to be operating in the flood.
Correct.
And so you want to make sure you have a manual wheelchair. You want to make sure you have different other devices that's going to help you transport you, or pretty much help you move and walk with your mobility. And so I would say have an evacuation route. You want to make sure that or do your windows let up. And that's one thing, Ferris, right there too. If you think about this. When was the last time you opened up a window at your house?
Oh man, it's been a while.
Okay. All right. So yeah. And so I remember, especially even with some of my projects, when you paint windows and it's kind of hard to let up.
Yeah.
So it's important to not only open up the doors and figure out what is the nearest route, but also check your windows.
Yeah.
Open up your windows routinely throughout the year to see if they are letting work, see if they're letting up, see if they have any kind of issues with opening up, because that would be a bad time for your window to not let up, especially when there's water or things of that sort, and you have to get out of the home and you can't let your window up.
You better keep a hammer around or something, a hammer, bat,
or a high heel shoe.
But that's so important. Being able to have an evacuation route.
Right.
Another thing that I went through and thought about was a lot of people are on medication.
Yeah.
And like you said, you have to have food to survive. Some people are dependent on certain medication, insulin, oxygen. Some people have hypertension.
Right.
And when you're dependent on medication, you want to go through and make sure you have the medicine, even during disaster time frames. So when doing that, I would recommend that if you know that a natural disaster is about to come in your area, go through and communicate with your physician, communicate with the pharmacist to go through and let them know that, hey, I need an extra supply of medication so that just in case anything happens, I can go through and actually take the medication that's needed. Also, for those individuals that actually have oxygen, it's so important that they understand that, yes, you may have an oxygen system or a CPAP or something that you can go through and plug in that's electric, but also you may want to go through and have a portable tank as well, especially if you're oxygen dependent. Just in case the electricity goes out, now you know that you can still go through and actually get the necessary oxygen flow through your body so that you can go through and live. It's a life or death situation. And last but not least, when it comes to the medication, is going through and making sure that you get your prescriptions, because just in case you get displaced, you want to be able to go through and take your prescriptions over to a pharmacist and let them know that these are the type of medication that I'm on. This is my PCP who actually signed these prescriptions, so that you can get those filled as well. Because the worst thing to do is actually, especially for individuals that are caring for elderly individuals, is not knowing what medications they're on and they're out of medication, and you just don't know what to do because the PCP or the physician's office is actually closed due to a disaster. So it's very important to get that medication down pat.
Exactly. Ferris, let me. This is just kind of off the subject a little bit, but we talked about earlier that it was like probably over 40,000 people that were displaced, and I wonder how many were seniors and how many of the senior market actually left their state, left their homes, and probably won't even return back to their homes because. There's either they didn't have flood insurance. Yeah. The nursing home didn't. They don't have the appropriate staff because the staff is displaced. And so I thought about that moment, because seniors are the ones that are left behind, either due to stubbornness or due to a decision that they have, or due to not having the resources to even go to another location. Correct. And so I just thought about that for a moment with how many seniors probably actually got displaced in this whole hurricane event for Hurricane Ian. Man,
I was looking on the news and I saw where they had school buses lined up down the road for in a particular community, particular county actually, and they were going door to door talking to different seniors saying, hey, we have transportation to a shelter. Many chose not to get on the bus because they wanted to either take care of their dog, or they just felt like the storm was not going to be as worse as it was. And so it's a combination where it takes family support, it takes neighbors, it takes a community to go through and prepare our seniors for these disasters, because they have lived a time or two, and they may have heard the whole it's gonna rain hell down on us, and they're just like, okay, it's not gonna. This is the same type of storm I saw last time, so they may discount it a little bit. But it's so important when it comes to life or death situations that we intervene for our family members, our seniors, so that we can go through and make sure they're taken care of. So now we're educating them and getting them to the proper places so they can go through and sustain throughout the storm as well. Exactly. So there you have it. I want you all to be prepared, especially for the next hurricane or the next disaster, natural disaster, and make sure you be prepared. As healthcare providers, we do something we call triage, and so what triage is.
for those members that need the most care, we make sure that we have the right staff to support them during the natural disaster. So for a lot of those other individuals that have family members or have family support or are mobile, those are the ones that are less seen. And so it's not saying that we as healthcare providers we don't want to see those individuals, but the ones with the most severity are the ones that need to be seen. And so make sure if you are a client of a home care agency or a nursing home, know your triage number, know your level of severity. So if you are a level 4 versus a level 1, you at least know that, okay, we're doing this natural disaster. People are probably not going to be putting me as a priority. But moving forward, you want to make sure you know your disasters and you want to make sure you be prepared. We gave some great resources and great tips to prepare you from having an emergency kit for food and communication and all these other things that Ferris discussed as well. So I wanted to make sure that you are going to be prepared for the next natural disaster.
Exactly. And again, make sure you go through and actually communicate. Last Caleb, one thing I thought about as you were closing out was communicating with your local emergency services, whether it be the police, fire, the ambulance services, making sure they know where you are. And again, sometimes during natural disasters, some agencies say, hey, it's better for you to vacate because we won't be able to respond in case of emergency as well. So go through and make sure you communicate with that as well. And Kayla, again, this has been a great episode. We hope that some of this information will go through and hopefully it'll save somebody's life.
Right.
And hopefully it'll allow you to have a conversation with your aging loved one to go through and prepare for the next disaster. We want y'all to go through and make sure you tune in each week. Every Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have dynamic episodes that drop on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Facebook. Go through and share with a friend. Let them know about the Homecare Guyz with a Z. Go through and subscribe, give us some thumbs up, go through and comment, let us know where you're from and what subjects that you would like to hear about as well.
And there you have it, guys. Another great episode with Conversation Home Care Guyz. You stay safe.
Take care.